Hi, and welcome to the Backroads. You'll notice that I'm neither Liam nor Jared. My name's Mike, and this is my Project TT.
Oh, look, selfie cam for a change. That's a bit different, isn't it? Look how wobbly my hands are. Yes, so Mike is joining the channel with his TT. This is sort of a new venture for us, really, because it's something a bit different.
Yeah.
See?
Hello.
Look, you've been introduced formally now.
Absolutely.
I know. So you might have seen Mike from the Bicester Heritage videos and also some of the coffees and cars stuff that we do on the channel. So Mike has got this rather lovely TT that has been sort of sitting around for, what, how long would you say now?
We're going on just over 3 years,
Yeah.
which is shocking. But,
Which is bad.
you know,
Car enthusiast,
yeah,
you call yourself?
I'm enthusiastic about it.
Just about.
Probably too enthusiastic, and that's partly the reason it's been sat, because as you find things, you know how it goes. Take one piece off, you move on to the next piece. You think that could do with some work, so you take that off, start to clean it, and before you know it, you have this,
Yeah.
which is a TT floating in midair with...
Quite literally
Yeah, no, absolutely.
on axle
yeah.
stands. I don't know if you can see down there, quite literally on axle stands, both sides, so.
Yeah, but it's all come from a place of love, you know. We're just restoring it slowly, and we were having a discussion a little while back about whether it's a modified car or a resto mod. I'm sticking with resto mod.
Just for your own sanity, really.
Absolutely, yeah. I think anything that needs restoring and modifying at the same time is a resto mod. That's the end of it.
There we go.
That's the line.
That's
I've
the
decided
line. That's where you draw
that's
it.
Yeah. In terms of the car, in terms of the project itself, it's based. I'm going to try and base it around a car that Audi, sort of a prototype that Audi did in 2016, I think it was. That was a club sport sort of concept. Now, when the TT was first released, there were 180 versions, 225, and then they had a TT Quattro Sport version, which was 240 brake, and that actually had no rear seats, just a two-seater version, which a little bit more power, a few tweaks, and you've probably seen the ones with the painted black roof. So that's partly what we've started in here. So obviously there's not much in the way of interior at the minute, but we have put a seat delete in, or taken the seats out, you know, whichever way you want to look at it. That's going to be the general sort of basis for it, is to go back down into a two-seater format. So we're trying to keep it sort of looking OEM and sort of as much as we can do to its original sort of features. So the steering wheel, you notice we've got a flat bottom steering wheel, but it's an original one that's been retrimmed, rather than what a lot of people do, which is fit later model steering wheels. I wanted to try and keep it sort of in keeping with the original interior of the car. But yeah, we've gone with that sort of two-seater format. Bodywork wise, needs a little bit of work, but we've got an OEM Votex kit to go on. It's just like slightly deeper side skirts, slightly deeper front lip and rear bumper. There is also a spoiler that we've got to go on, which isn't an Audi one, but it's a very sort of, it's in keeping with the shape of the car and the style that we want to try and work with. But at the front of the car, we have this custom-made bonnet, which has got a GT500 vent fabricated into it. I bought this off a TT Forum member. So Dina, if you do actually end up watching this, as promised, it's going on. Front grille, this is a JE Designs one, so they're an aftermarket tuning company. These are actually really difficult to get hold of now. And I quite like them because what they do is they sort of reduce the front opening down slightly, and I think it actually matches up better with the bottom lip. In terms of other bits and pieces, we do have some OZ 3-piece split rims to go on. Oh, here we are, yes.
Oh, look, what an absolute lad.
There we are. And they need some work, some TLC, but again, I think we're going to just try and keep these fairly standard. I know we were talking earlier, Liam and I were talking earlier about the colour. I think we're going to keep the car silver, even though it's going to go in for paint. Mainly because, you know, when the TT was launched, all the posters, the first time I ever set eyes on a TT, it was silver. You know, that was the colour that they used to launch it. And I think, being that it's already that colour, I just think it's probably for the best that we keep it.
What do you think, Jared?
It's exciting.
Yeah?
Yeah. Finally a commendable, respectable German on the channel. So, it's good.
What do you mean? How dare you? This man, this absolute monster of a human being.
We got the big daddy Audi in the group now. There's no more Volkswagen.
Working indicators.
You two are absolute you know that, right?
Yeah, it's been really exciting to get the TT on the channel. It's a bit of variety. Obviously, there's a lot of good audience out there for the Volkswagen stuff. So, well, Volkswagen Auto Group stuff. This is, of course, an Audi. So yeah, it should be good. Get a bit more Euro scene representation on the channel because we're quite Euro, but we're not proper Euro scene, if you know what I mean. So we'll see how this goes.
Right, so looking at the engine, in terms of the future of the project, TTs came with 3 engines as standard. We had a 180, a 225, and then a little bit later a 240, which came in the Quattro Sport. This is the 225. It's a BAM code engine, which, you know, had variable valve timing. In terms of power, not really any difference. It was just an emissions thing. The plan, eventually, obviously we've got a lot of work to do on the car elsewhere first, but the plan eventually for the power unit is that we'll be looking at rebuilding the engine, boring it out, stroking it, and which will give us an effective 2-litre engine. Which is, the way you would do that is use a crank from a TFSI. So we'll be adding that in, and then that'll allow us to then move on to a big turbo, which probably at the moment will be a G25 550 by Garrett. So, and once all that's done, we'll take it down to mapping, and the aim is going to be to get the car somewhere in the region of 400 to 450 brake horsepower. But obviously that's not something that's on the agenda just yet. At the moment, the project, obviously the car's in the air, so I've had the opportunity to strip it down a little bit. So you are sort of getting in, we are mid-project. So obviously at the moment, I'm working at the rear of the car. So far we've removed the 2 rear trailing arms, brakes and rear suspension components. So you just, obviously, not too much to see, but we'll be disassembling all this, probably in a future video. We'll take all this apart, and eventually the plan is to get it all sent off for powder coating or possibly ceramic coating, depending on, you know, the options available. And then, as mentioned, this is pretty much the bulk of the body kit. Obviously the front you saw on the car, but we do have we have a rear wing, which is by a company called GT, so that's non-OEM. This is a OEM Votex rear bumper piece, obviously painted in some form of green. It's started to come away. The kit itself is quite subtle. For any of those who haven't seen it, it's just effectively like a small extension to the lines of the car. It's nothing wild. It will just give the car a look as if it's sitting slightly lower than it is already. That's partly why we're going for a 19-inch wheel over an 18-inch, just so that we can fill the arches, and it helps to kind of keep everything in proportion. Thanks for joining us in this episode. If you would like to become a channel member, you can do that, and that will help by supporting us for the cost of a cup of coffee. You can also subscribe to the channel if you like what you've seen. And finally, if there's anything that you think you'd like us to do with the car, or anything you'd like to see us try to do with the car, please just let us know. Thanks for watching. See you next time.